My name is Alicia. I am a stereographer, stereophotographer, historian, researcher, etc. And I'm just kind of finishing up a little series that I was doing on a camera that I have absolutely fallen in love with. This is a Jules Richard Verascope. This is a Verascope Model 6. It originally took magazine backs. They were the magazines that were for tri-plates, which they actually manufactured quite a bit of sizes for. They came in this format, which was really the kind of whole structure that Jules Richard really kind of revolutionized and introduced stereophotography to an entirely new audience. I want to say an entirely new customer base that was more of an amateur snapshot type of customer, and but it did originally come with backs that would be loaded. This is a magazine back. This is something that would be loaded with like maybe 10 glass tri-plates, and you would just kind of, it had excellent machining. The thing about a Jules Richard piece of any kind is basically this precision machining that is just quite evident in everything that you see. When you even something like this, can I even show you guys this? Let me have this if I have a magnifying glass. Even something like this on the side, this is basically a frame counter. Every time you would change the plate out, it automatically would advance the number. That was 9, I believe, and there you go. I bet you this is going to be 10 now. Oop, there it is. So, as you can see, this actually really did the trick for counting frames, and this is really kind of like a very distinct hallmark of Jules Richard products that they manufactured. They were around from I guess from like the late 1890s, maybe even the like late 1880s to 1930, I believe. And so when I purchased my camera, I purchased the front of the camera, not the roll film back, and it came with these 2 magazines. And I didn't use this camera. I basically like learned it as I went along. There's really not a lot of people who are experienced shooting it nowadays, and even though, like, you know, there are manuals, like, you know, you can go on Buckus.org and, like, you know, give them a pay bell, and there's really nobody that I was running into that was actively shooting it or had any experience with that. So it was something that I had a bit of trepidation kind of easing myself into. Getting the roll film back, because I wasn't about to start I wasn't about to start on dry plates with this, but I can tell you I love this camera so much, and I realize the quality and the results it's going to give me. I'm actually looking forward to shooting dry plates on it very soon. I'm going to start filling up my magazines actually, and it took me getting this film back to realize that. But you know, at one point I was like, I'm like, is this my favorite stereo camera that I've ever shot? And believe me, I've shot quite a few stereo cameras in, like, you know, the past 25 years, I should say. And you know, as I'm thinking it, I'm like, yeah, this is an exceptional camera. And it's probably my favorite camera that I ever shot. Besides the Mercury 2, that's about it. I think it goes, and this is definitely my favorite stereo camera. And that's going throughout the entirety of the history of stereo cameras that I've shot, digital and film or plate. I can't wait to do that. But what I wanted to do with you guys was basically just go through the functionalities of this. Even though it has a roll film back on it, it really does have the same functionalities as a camera. The back is the back, and the front is the front, and the backs are all interchangeable. You can shoot a magazine back, you can shoot, this is a roll film. This is specifically in the catalog, it was saying that it was designed for Kodak roll film, and that would be a 127 film. I do want to add that most likely also Gave Art made uh, exceptional papers and exceptional film. Belgium was the seat of the photographic authority, and they standardized basically what would become the standard stereo format of that time, which was this 6 by 13 millimeter um, stereos that was specifically formatted for stereo size. That was the standard for it, and so and that's more like a 120 roll film, I want to say. Um, and I have other cameras to show you as examples if you want. But the 45 by 107 size, which is equivalent to the Kodak 127, or Gave Art, it would just be G27. This is, first of all, Jules Richard pieces. The quality is exceptional. The precision machining that goes into every single piece. It's just so fitted, and everything. Like you can't actually insert something incorrectly. It just won't go. It'll you turn it around and suddenly it just slides on. There, the weight of it. This is a camera that first of all, this came with a case when I purchased it, and I have a lot of repairs to do for my cases. Maybe I'll do a leather repair shop one day, a video or something like that. But this is something that I just kind of throw into my pocketbook, and I just take off and go, and it's wonderful. It's extremely lightweight. It weighs less than any of my stereo realists do. It is absolutely much more easy in the hand. I want to say, if you're if you're a girl and your hands aren't as big, and you have a medium format camera, let's say. Hold on, I'm just going to show you this full. So this is a Voigtlander stereoflectoscope, and this also has a roll film back. This is it's actually very rare in comparison to the Verascope roll film backs that were manufactured. This is a Voigtlander stereoflectoscope. This originally came with a viewing tube, and instead I put on I got a waist level finder to just kind of Velcro on here, etc. And this is something that basically you find your waist level finder, you focus it, and you advance your film, and you snap your shutter. And this is something I want to point out, that this is an extremely heavy camera. This is something that I don't like taking out by myself to shoot. I like to have adult supervision when I shoot this camera, because I could be a Butterfingers. I can just be holding something and it'll just disappear from my hand, and nobody will know what happened to it, myself included. And so just or even just being a sitting duck, an obvious target, and just end up not being able to go home with it because somebody took it. So this is something that I always try to have somebody with me when I'm shooting, a little shooting date or something like that. And it's a very heavy camera, and it has attached, it has lugs attached that you would obviously put a strap on, and you really do have to brace it against your body. It's very heavy, and so this is something, just throughout the course of a day, if you're running around and going to different locations and trying to shoot as much as you can onto a roll of 120, this really makes such a difference. This, if you note, there are no places to put any straps on this. You don't need straps for this camera. This was essentially pretty much a snapshot camera. You didn't need to put it on a tripod. It does have a tripod hole. It does have it's not the quarter 20 hole that everybody thinks of. This was just a post hole. I don't know if you can see through it, right? See how you can just see right through it? Don't I have like, I thought I had a big screw somewhere. Maybe I don't, but let me show it with Lego. No, I can't do that. I'm not that cool. But basically this would just like have a a stand kind of that just would like shove through this hole, and it would fit onto a tripod stand of some sort, and that in itself is also pretty nice. Like you didn't need anything really that specific. I want to say I fudged my way through this with like just like a giant screw that I have from my something that I have from leftover, and I don't know where it is, so I'm gonna stop looking for it. But it's it's incredible to use. I was shooting it the other morning. I woke up early, and I went out, and I specifically went out to shoot architecture. And so let me show you some of the features of this. So whereas I was speaking of the back and not the front, I'm going to be just speaking of the front and not the back. So right away, the way that you operate this camera is you would have to frame up your shot. And so this has a it's not a waist level finder. You actually put it eye level, and then you focus it. Excuse me, you don't focus it. You frame your shot up, and so basically it will. Let me see if I can show you this like that. You know, it might be easier to just go like that. Yeah. So this has a. It's not a brilliant finder. It is, I believe, a prism finder, or the way that I was reading it, it seemed like even like kind of like some sort of like the way fiber optics like will bend light. It seems like there's perhaps like, you know, I'm sure it's prisms, but it's kind of, you know, just channels the light up there, and has a crosshair built in, and the crosshair on this also has another layer to it. It has a like a very bright crosshair that is kind of superimposed on top of it. And when you get those two lined up, first of all, it really helps you kind of like center in on your subject matter, and because you not only have this crosshair, but the scene in the crosshairs gets a little bit more illuminated than the rest of the other scene. It also has a sport finder, like a galleon finder, and so you would pull that out, and you can absolutely just line your shot up like that. And you can see that this has like a negative lens on it, right? It's just minimizing. So like anything that is in this area that you see will be in your shot, in case like, you know, that's too broad of a range for you to kind of guesstimate, I want to say. But there's really no guesstimating with this. This also has two bubble finders, bubble levels, and they're I honestly, this is a camera from like you know, this might be from like 1900s, 1908, like somewhere, anywhere along that line. Like you can see the bubble just like jumping around there. I don't know what sort of like miracle mineral oil is in here, but it's still perfectly functional. It's still, it obviously is not leaking either one of them, and it's something that is, you know, made to last over 100 and I don't know, 15 years. It's incredible, and it's an incredible camera to really have learned on. I want to say it was a bit. Anytime that I'm having glass and steel and doing it for the first time, I'm going to be a little jumpy. But when I took this out, it just falls in your hand. There's really like it's very easy to hold. So I never had any like thoughts about, you know, like what if I'm going to spaz out and like, you know, drop it. It's like, no, it just stayed in my hand, and if it wasn't in my hand, it went immediately back in its case and into my pocketbook. I want to say that you don't have to have a perfectly level shot to shoot a stereo or a stereo scene. Like, whatever it is, it's always going to be in stereo, even if you're going like that, even if you're looking straight up. But the fact that it has these two bubble level indicators, and they're not like, you know, just the line type that like, you know, you would be doing one way or the other. This is a 360, not 360, it's a 180 bubble level. So the reason why this is here, I think, is because that this also has a rise front to it. And let me see if I can get this up. There we go. So you just push it with your fingers, and you push it until it stops. And what this does, so see that, right? I'm going to push it down. So I can pull this front up. It kind of like acts like, in a way, I want to say that like a view camera might act if you, like, you know, drop or rise it. And so this is here specifically to correct for any architectural sort of distortion, perspective distortion, I want to say. If you are shooting this camera up and you didn't have the drop front to it, you can get the top of the building, perhaps a very tall building, and when you would have it, if it was just perfectly aligned, and it only rises. This is not a drop front. I believe the Voigtlander I have right there is a drop front where it actually drops down instead of rises up. But this is something that you could actually, like, you know, if it wasn't fitting all the way within your finders and within your brilliant finder, it's not a brilliant finder, but I'm just calling it that. You could rise the front up and you could catch the top of the building, perhaps, or at least even if you would have to point it up, you wouldn't get as strong of a perspective distortion that you would have. When I say perspective distortion, I mean like how lines, like, you know, like how things far away, like, you know, a road that's going that way will eventually, like, you know, like not be straight line the whole way. It'll eventually like kind of taper off into the horizon. This is what minimizes that. And so when you have stereos, if you have any glass plate stereos that have any buildings that look incredibly straight, this is most likely the reason why it was taken with a Verascope or another one of the very similar bodied cameras in the early 1900s that had a rise front or a front drop. And this is to correct for architectural perspective details that will be very you know, it basically they're perfectly aligned, like as if you were drafting a blueprint or something like that. They don't taper up at all, and it's a very odd thing to see, even especially in 3D. I also want to point out that so like this whole time when I'm looking at this, I keep on turning it like this, which is like the natural way to do things. The typography on this, all the, you know, all the things that I need to read, like, you know, my f-stop, my like whatever indications it's giving me, these are all written upside down, so it's perfectly designed. It just human ergonomics and I want to say psychology. So if I was going to, like, you know, think that I have to shoot the camera, oh, it must be needing to be shot this way, I don't have a viewfinder up here. I can't like focus my shot. I don't even focus on this camera, but I can't frame my shot. This was literally designed as you were shooting it to go and then flip it over, and the type is literally printed upside down because you're flipping your camera upside down to read it, and that is probably one of my favorite details to point out on this camera. It's perfectly well designed in every single aspect. And so this has basically, oh, and I made sure to bring something to show, hold on. So this has, there is no focus on this camera. It's a fixed focus, and anything that is basically not distorted, like, you know, like if I'm looking at like my hand right in front of it, it's very like, you know, it's kind of got like a it's got like a whirl going on with it, and I can see that it's a little distorted. This, I want to say, has a it'll be in focus from 4 feet, 6 feet, you know, like you could shoot your feet perhaps, and they'll be in focus, and then all the way out to infinity. That's how stereo cameras pretty much work. And so the fact that you don't focus this camera is just I wasn't expecting that actually. Even like, you know, having handled it, I was like, "Where's the focus?" And I'm like, "Wait a second, do I not have to focus this? Is this just fixed and it has a rise front, but I don't have to actually adjust anything?" And that's exactly how it is. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. So you don't focus this camera. What you do have to do is, of course, you have to, like, you know, make sure that your metering is right. So you have to remember what your roll of film was. I know that it was a 127 roll of black and white. That was a 400. So I have 400 speed film in here, and what my options are for any sort of, you know, compensating for this and that. I have, let's start out with the f-stops. So there are 2 rows, right? Both of them, I should turn this camera upside down. And I realize my videos are actually reversed. I know how to fix it in YouTube now. Let me see if I can do this. All right, so this has basically 2 indicators, right? They're switches. These little guys, they are both on what is it, f4.5? Actually, I beat this myself. Yeah, it's 4.5. That's the diaphragm, right? And so this doesn't actually, like, you know, like have like anything like a helicord that will, like, you know, adjust like open and close an iris. What this has is already fixed aperture set diaphragms, and they're basically slides, and it's basically something like this. This is actually not a realist mount or anything like that. This is actually for stereo projection to correct things like there's a couple of different styles. These are for projection to help shape light, I want to say. This is for like if they're keystoning. This one I'm not exactly sure, but it's a useful shape, I suppose. I'm gonna have to test it out one day soon. And these are to really like minimize or maximize your spot that you're throwing across the room or something. And I just wanted to show you this because it's really what's going on inside when I move these levers. So this is f point 4.5. This is 4.5. If they're both set like this, you have a 4.5 diaphragm, and I'm going to say, like, let's represent 4.5 with this. So that's what's going on in there right now. Then you have an option. Then you have on one end this one that will set it to 6.3. So when you slide this and you hear that like little click, you're actually sliding a smaller set of diaphragms that are like either going behind, that are going either in front or behind the 4.5. So no matter what, like, you know, if you have it set on 6.3, it will always default down to the smaller f-stop, to the smaller hole, because, you know, like once you have another smaller mask on it, then that's how much the light can possibly go through. That's it. And then you have another one on the bottom is going to be it's just f8, right? So if I have both of these set like this, it's going to default to the f8. I could take the 6.3 off, and it'll still be on f.8. I can put this 6.3 on and take the f8 down to 4.5, and now it's 6.3 again. And so this is the way that this is. You have limited. It's like a Waterhouse stop, I want to say, but like just like a slide of them for repair. And so this is like you have a limited option for your f-stops, but apparently it's been fine for everybody else for hundreds of years. So, like, you know, not hundreds, but like, you know, over 100 years. I'm sure we can figure it all out, right? So I have 400 film in here. I had I knew, so, and the way that I adjusted for my shutter speed was I have an app on my phone, so I just like plugged in my numbers. And when I was shooting in the morning, then it turned out that 1/60th was going to be my shutter speed, and there is shutter speed on here. So once I had my 6.3, my diaphragm set, this was something that I actually was a little unsure of. I had to ask. Some people online were very helpful. Thank you, Facebook Verascope people. This is your shutter speed. This is a Chronos shutter apparently, and so this little dial, you can twist it one way, you can twist it another way. It has two indicating basically extremes. You could either go from S to F, and I'm assuming that means slow and fast, and those are very arbitrary. Those are very arbitrary, like what's slow, what's fast. So I had to look it up, and it is in the manual. Your slowest shutter speed on the dial is, I think, 1/5 of a second, and then your fastest shutter speed is 1/150th, right? And then it has increments of measurement in between. And the way that this is in particular, it has basically it's like a clock, and it has like a clock starburst pattern kind of. And you can see that the lines are like one's a little bit longer, one's a little shorter, one's a little bit longer, and one's a little bit shorter. So I'm assuming that the longer lines are indicating of the increments, and the shorter lines are like you could adjust like for half in between either one of those. And so if I knew that my fastest shutter speed was going to be 1/150th of a second, I think the next one down was going to be F90, I believe, and then it was like F60. So I just like went down one and then two increments, and it's a little hard to see. You actually do have to like look at it very closely with your eye. But once I had that all down, all of a sudden I have my camera ready to shoot, and so I could just like line up my subject and take out my dark slide. And this is actually the thing I have the hardest trouble with, I want to say. Not that I was like forgetting to take it out. It was a bit I was having trouble putting back in after I shot a shot, and so I'm sure it's my fault. I'm obviously, but I want to find a way that I can like always catch it on the first try, and like you really can't when it's like going against like a little piece of like just like a little sliver that you can kind of shove it in, and you can't really see it. So I just have to work on that, but I'm sure I'll get the feel of it very soon. This is how you cock your shutter. So it has that little like arrow pointing that way, so it's only going to go one way anyway, but it's a little hard to cock. It takes a little bit of effort. Sometimes I like push it and I can't catch it. And I'm not going to take the dark slide out right now. I'm just going to show you. So that's how you cock the shutter. And this is how you release the shutter. This little guy right here, right? So, boom, right? There's another part that I just kind of forgot. Excuse me. But can you see this? Okay. There's a little it kind of looks like a rivet that's like like the camera front is like constructed with. Oops. And it's actually not. This is actually a switch. This is something that goes back and forth, and so this will override your shutter speed if it's set by these two basic controls that I'm I'm sliding between, and the controls are indicated. If you're doing it this way, it is going to. If you're going this way, it has an I. If you're shoving it that way, it has a T. And so this will only work if you have it set on I, and I means instantaneous, and that's why I mean this very well might be the first snapshot camera, because like this doesn't need a tripod. Let's say it doesn't need an open shutter forever, and instantaneous is what that is indicating. And when you have it set on I, that is when you are able to have these shutter speed adjustments actually come into play and activate, right? If you have it on T, and I actually haven't been successful with this yet. I've been trying to play with it. So I put it all the way on T. T is like T means time, and basically the way that you shoot T is how there's B on your camera, which means bulb, and that means like as long as you press your shutter and you hold it down, it'll stay open until you release and take your finger off of it, and then it'll close, right? So T is not like that. T is you as long as you have your shutter cocked, everything like that. So let me cock it, and you see it's kind of hard for me. This is something that I definitely have to get the technique down. But now it's cocked. And so T is supposed to be time, and it's basically you press the shutter once and you let it go, and it stays open until you press it again. So it's like open, close, like that, right? So knowing that, and it's not what T is supposed to sound like. It's not supposed to be ting dink like that, but I'll have to see. This is something, so that was set always slow also, by the way. I'm going to try doing it again because I just want to hear it myself and see if I can figure it out right now, but maybe I can't right now. All right, so that was just like a one, like, that was just a one-click fast shutter. I guess that's what 1/50th sounds like on this, and I'm going to put that back, and this is on 1/5 right now. It clicked twice before. I heard it, but and let me just show you the dark slider also. So pretend I was going to actually shoot something in here. I'm not going to be shooting it right now with the dark slide out, but it's something that I just want to just mention because I've been having problems with it. So I should have shown you that really quick. Hold on. So like any Jules Richard, no matter what back you have on it, there's going to be some sort of locking mechanism to keep it in place and not let it fall off while you're shooting. And so on the 120 back, excuse me, the 127 back, and also on the magazines, it would be the same one. It would be this guy, and this just opens up, and like this little, the front of it just comes off. And so just make sure that you're holding your entire camera back and front together in your hand, like nice and tight, while you're taking out your dark slide. Because you can actually just like pull the whole thing off and like, have like, your film exposed basically. But I just took out my dark slide. And as soon as I took out my dark slide, I'm going to put this little lip back on and I'm going to close it up again. So right now the dark slide is out. I'm not going to be shooting it right now, so it's not going to get exposed. But let's say I just caught my shutter and shot it. And then try to put it back in. This is where I'm having the most amount of difficulty, is trying to get my dark slide in and like get it in straight and right the first time, where it's catching like the back of the roll film back, and it's just a little difficult for me. And I want to show everybody that this is so there's a lip to this that's only on one side. You're not going to be putting the dark slide back in with the lip facing your roll film back, or perhaps your magazine. You're having it face the camera front. So this is like, you want to catch it in the little, it has like two little channels that like, that it needs to slide under. And if you don't catch it, all right, I caught it right the first time, but like it won't shove in all the way. And I was like, and I'm like, I'm obviously doing it wrong. If I'm having any sort of resistance or anything like that, your camera will let you know if you're doing anything wrong with it. It is most precisely like molds and planes and just perfect machine that I think I own. Honestly, it's noticeable. It's noticeable. And I think that's about it. I have a lot more videos to do and catch up on. I've been actually mounting a lot of slides and stuff like that. I've been catching up on my stereo stuff a lot lately, so I hope to have a lot more films, videos, whatever. But so, oh, and by the way, so that when you shoot your roll, excuse me, you shoot your shot. When you shoot your shot, your roll film back obviously still operates the way that it was operating last time, and you're going to advance to your next frame. This is the key. This is it's like, this is the advanced key. It's a very obvious advanced key. You're going to twist it until the numbers on the that are printed on your 127 film paper line up with the numbers printed on the ruby lith on you see it, see the way that it's like numbers like that. So right now I am on frame 4 and I'm parking frame 4 in the number 4. It actually says 4 where it says 4. I don't know. Let me see. I need to get more light on that. So when I advance this, I'm going to be advancing this. I'm going to skip over 5, and apparently I'm going to, oh wait, is that 5 or 6? Oh no, I'm going to advance it to the next frame, and the next frame is indicated that it should be 5, and then after that, I think I might go to 8. Or is that a 6? Look at me, who needs glasses, right? Oh, never had that in my life. But anyway, so and this is the Jules Richard Verascope Model 6. There's so many different things and accessories. These took autochrome plates. You can make full color autochromes. There's like a little autochrome filter guys inside the cameras. This by the way, mine didn't come with any sort of lens cap. If you notice, like, just things in the world, like you can notice that like the lens caps for like many cell phone lens, like the cell phone lens things, you put a fancy lens on your cell phone, your smartphone. Oh my god, I said cell phone. So that's about the same size. I'm sure you can find one that will fit the lenses, and it's a joy to use. It's so very fun. It's so very easy. It's it's nice and subtle. It's got that like it blends in. It's got that gunmetal gray finish, that blued steel finish, and I actually am looking forward to like buying my first like my first set of dry plates. I like that's how much I love this camera. It's my favorite camera. It's my favorite stereo camera I've ever shot, and I haven't gotten anything developed from it yet. I just know. And that's it. And I hope everybody has I think it's really late at night right now, so I hope everybody has a good night and a good morning. And I'll see you again soon, hopefully. Bye.